Good morning. We're going to work on parallel lines and transversals today. We're going to skip 3.2. We already had a lot of practice doing that. So parallel lines and transversals. What would you call two lines that do not intersect? Parallel. That's one of the words in your vocabulary that you'll be working on. And if you see here on line A, B, and CD, there's a triangle placed on the two lines to indicate that the lines are parallel. So whenever you see those, they're parallel. And the symbol, two parallel lines on the end, is used to indicate parallel lines. So in this case, it's AB. Line AB is parallel to line CD. And you know the outside of the parallel lines is the exterior, and the inside is the interior. A slash through the parallel symbol indicates that they're not parallel. You can tell these aren't parallel because they intersect. Transversal is a line, array, or segment that intersects two or more coplanar lines, rays, or segments. See, here's two parallel lines, and the transversal is the line that cuts through them both. And here's non-parallel lines. That could still have a transversal also. The lines don't have to be parallel, but a line that cuts through both of them is called a transversal. The same things apply then. Outside of the parallel line, of the two lines, is exterior, inside interior. Same with this one, that in between the lines is interior, outside the line is exterior. A transversal is a line which intersects two or more lines in the plane, so it can intersect three lines. Line J, K, and M are all intersected by T, so T would be considered a transversal. And the space inside the two lines is the interior. Think of the word in. The space outside the two lines is the exterior. And this creates special angle relationships where the interior angles have a special relationship. 3 and 6 are alternate interior. These are interior, and they're on alternate sides of the transversal. 4 and 5 are alternate interior also. They're on alternate sides of the transversal. 3 and 5 are consecutive interior angles or same side. These are on the same side of the transversal. 4 and 6 are consecutive interior because they're on the same side and they're interior. Exterior, 1 and 8 are alternate exterior because they're on opposite sides. 2 and 7. 1 and 7 are consecutive exterior angles or same side exterior because they're on the same side of the transversal. So the same would be true of 2 and 8. They're consecutive exterior angles. And when the lines are parallel, alternate interior angles are congruent. So 3 and 6, 4 and 5 will be congruent. Same thing with alternate exterior angles. 1 and 8, 2 and 7 are congruent. And the two interior, like 3 and 5, they're supplementary, which means they add up to 180. And 4 and 6 also add up to 180. Same thing with consecutive exterior angles that are on the outside. They're supplementary also. They add up to 180. If the lines are not parallel, these angle relationships do not exist. So this only works with parallel lines. Corresponding angles and consecutive angles. There's the exterior and interior. Two angles that occupy corresponding positions are corresponding. You can see by the colors which ones are corresponding to each other. 1 and 5, 3 and 7, 2 and 6, 4 and 8. When two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, a pair of corresponding angles are formed. 4 pairs, in fact, are formed. Corresponding pairs of angles are congruent. So P and Q are congruent. You can see by the color. These two green ones are congruent. These are corresponding. These two purple ones are congruent, corresponding. Two blue ones, corresponding. Two red ones, corresponding. Here it's written out here. It'll show you. The GPB is equal to PQE. GPA is congruent to PQD. BBQ is congruent to EQF. These two. And ABQ is congruent to DQF. These two corresponding angles. Now consecutive interior and exterior angles are supplementary, remember? Two angles that lie between parallel lines of the same side of the transversal. Consecutive exterior angles are two angles that lie outside parallel lines of the same side of the transversal. Four and 6, and 3 and 5 add up to 180. 1 and 7, and 2 and 8 add up to 180. Interior angles are the ones that lie between the two parallel lines. And these are parallel lines. So those two are interior. And they're supplementary. So a pair of interior angles that lie on the same side of the transversal are interior, well, same side interior or consecutive. And the alternate ones are congruent. So these two green ones are congruent because they're on alternate sides, and these two are congruent. And if you add them both up, These are both supplementary, and these are supplementary. So see that one supplementary, which means adds up to 180. So if that's 120, the opposite one would be 120. And since these have to be supplementary, 120 plus 60 is 180. Same thing here, 120 plus 60 is 180. The same side ones have to add up to 180, and then the alternate interior ones are congruent. Alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles lie outside the parallel lines. So 3 and 6 are alternate interior, 4 and 5. There you go, and they're congruent. 2 and 7, 1 and 8 are alternate exterior, and they're congruent. Alternate angles are formed on opposite sides of the transversal and at different intersecting points. Remember, you have to have kind of two sets of points, one on each of the parallel lines. So those are alternate interior, they're congruent. And these are alternate interior, they're congruent. Two pairs of alternate angles are formed. Pairs of alternate angles are congruent. Let's practice. If this is 120, we know that this one will have to be 120, and the consecutive would be 120, and the alternate exterior would be 120. And then these two together are supplementary. See, this is a straight line, so they have to add up to 180, which they do. So these are vertical angles. They're congruent. Same thing here, congruent. See, this is 120 because it's consecutive to this one, which is 120. And also alternate interior. These will have to be congruent. That would mean do the alternate interior. This would have to be 60 also. Yep. And since that's 60, this has to be 60. And since that's 120, this has to be 120. See, if you have one angle, you can find all the remaining angle measurements. Find all the missing angle measurements. So this is 40, this is 120. So this alternate one here, this would be 120 also. This would be 40. And since these are supplementary, that would have to be 60. So the vertical angle here would have to be 60. And since these are alternate interior angles, these are congruent. Vertical angles, 40. You know, this would have to add up to 180. You have 40 and 60, which is 120. So this one will probably be 60. This one also, vertical angle. 180 minus 40 plus 60. Oh, it's 80. So this would be 80, that would be 80. So that means this one here is alternate interior would have to be 80. So the vertical angle will have to be 80. These are congruent or supplementary. So they both have to be 100. That's it.